sneaky good stick defensively. So they want to. The Maple Leafs want to play like Matthew Nyes. Like if they can take one player on their team and emulate that style, it is Matthew Nyes. Like he is perfect. He's perfect in Craig Berube's system and what they want to be, right? So it only makes sense that that they give him kind of the keys to the kingdom in a way. Obviously, not fully. Matthews is always going to be the king, but I mean, I don't know. You're looking at a guy who just plays different, right? He's a different cat, and he's just different for this team, and he's going to provide an element that they really have not had. Like, sure, they've had some guys who can play physical a little bit here and there, but they haven't had a dominant player who's physical on the score sheet and on the ice, and that's what this guy can be.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? They really haven't had this type of player. It's hard to find this type of player unless you go and draft it and develop it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, people should be pretty happy that the Leafs have been able to draft and develop this player, because you can draft them, but yes, you do also have to see them go on a proper development path, and I think we've seen that from them.
All right, we'll come back and we'll put a bow on the Nyes conversation and get into some other comments that were made at the NHL media tour that's making the rounds. That's next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morisuti with you, as we are each and every Monday through Friday, free and available. The Locked On Leafs podcast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube. Dave, you want to put a bow on the Matthew Nyes conversation? Any final comments you'd like to make?
I know he was asked about Mitch Marner, which it's almost like every single Leafs player has to take a Marner question. Every single one. Even if a player didn't even play with Mitch Marner in Toronto. Dakota Joshua's going to get asked about Mitch Marner. It's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
The one thing I saw one of the comments talking about him being, the guy in the locker room that took charge of the music. And I'm like, is that really necessary to bring up? Like, are you really going to miss somebody because they played music in your locker room?
Who, Marner?
Yeah. I've heard he's like the third player I've heard talk about. I was like, does this guy have the best music taste in the world that it's just going to be so hard to not have somebody else play music in that locker room?
Dave, I don't know about you, but how many times did we talk about the Maple Leafs and their slow starts? Maybe they need some better pregame music to get them pumped up, okay? Maybe they'll be much better off with someone else playing DJ in the Maple Leafs locker room before games, and they can get hyped up and get out there and get going and go, up 3-4 Cobb in the first 8 minutes of a game instead of getting absolutely shelled, which we saw one too many times for my liking last season.
I don't disagree with that. And yeah, he did go on to say like he did things outside and he organized a lot of stuff. I just always find the music ones kind of funny, and I didn't even think about the slow starts. But like, let's find other reasons to say Mitch Marner will be missed, other than talking about him playing music in the locker room.
Wow, I mean, yeah, it's just something. Obviously, they're gonna miss his on-ice talent, though. I don't think that has to be said. No. That's something that everyone obviously knows that you're going to miss. So it doesn't need to be said. But yeah, I mean, it's very obvious and evident that it's going to be, there could be growing pains early in the season to find out, who works best where. The top six is going to look a little different, right? Not having Mitch Marner, who worked with anybody, whether it was Matthews, whether it was Tavares, you need to get one of those guys going. Typically, you put them with Mitch, and he would get it going. That safety blanket's no longer there for Craig Berube, and now he's got to try and find some other combinations. And we'll see if it works. Like Max Domi has had success in the past with Matthews, so we'll see if he gets an opportunity in camp to play on that top line. Matthias Michelli was brought in. We know that he is a great passer of the puck, and that sounds like a good trait quality to pair up with Austin Matthews. So he's gonna they're gonna try some things, obviously, but no one's going to replace Marner and his production and what he does on the ice, and apparently also off the ice. A lot of stuff that he did with this Maple Leafs team, but they're gonna have to look within, and the other guy's gonna have to step up, right? And Matthew Knies is willing to take on a lot of that load and step up as a leader in the group. So I'm excited to see if he can in fact do that. What else kind of stood out to you at Media Tour Day down in Vegas?
Well, this wasn't specifically Media Tour League, because I think the Canucks had a golf tournament. The golf tournaments are also starting up soon too, so we'll be hearing from players there as well. And Pettersson made it a point to say he bulked up this off season. He added 13 pounds of lean bulk. Which I'm like, 13 pounds of muscle sounds. It's nice. It's nice to hear that he did add some.
Yeah,
but like 13 pounds.
I'm excited. Every year I get excited for that, right? The new weigh-ins on day one of camp, and then the tweet comes out of what everyone's weighing in at, and who gained weight, who lost weight. Last year was hilarious because it was like the first summer where guys were just trying to gain weight because they knew Craig Berube was coming into town, and you had guys gaining like 8, 9, 12, 13 pounds over the. Even Matthew Knies gained a bunch of weight over the offseason trying to get heavier. Now he's trying to lean out this offseason, still be heavy, but a little leaner and more agile, which is great to see. But I'll be curious to see kind of what the weigh-ins look like heading into camp this year for the Maple Leafs.
I'll be very curious to see just also how many players may have done something like totally different in terms of their off ice. Like I'm curious to see if Austin Matthews, like if there's any changes to how if he loses weight, if he gains weight, although I don't think he probably would gain that much.
No, I don't think Matthews changes his game. He needs to stay healthy. He doesn't need to change his game. Matthews is fine. I would stay far away from trying to talk to Matthews about his kind of training regimen, unless it was something that could keep him healthier, like strengthen up that back maybe, so that that doesn't become a problem this season like it was all of last year. But I don't think that would be all that different, I suppose. The only other I don't know, like we talk about a guy bulking up and how much of a difference maker that could be in the way that Elias Pettersson did. Like if you're thinking of like a Maple Leaf, like who could, if they bulked up and could they be something different, reinvent themselves? I wonder who that guy would be. I don't think it would be Matthews. I don't think Nylander would be a guy you want to reinvent. I think Tavares is kind of who he is, so you're not going to do that there. Knies is already who he is. He's just going to continue to bulk. I mean, does he reinvent himself by going the other way? I doubt it. I do not think that is the case. What would be an interesting one? If like Morgan Riley decided to reinvent, he was
like one of the first I thought of.
Right, where like if he realizes, look, I'm not, I don't know if I'm going to be quite the elite skater that I once was, and if I can't skate and get the puck out, and if I am not as big of a factor offensively, I got to bulk up and I got to be stronger to play against. Like that's what Craig Berube wants. He wants trees in front of the net, lumberjacks who are just chopping guys down, and maybe I need to focus on that, put a little bit more extra weight on, and maybe that's the type of difference you could see. A guy like Morgan Riley putting on 10 pounds over summer, 10, 12 pounds or something like that. But I don't see any of the skill guys necessarily putting on a bunch of weight. Maybe a Nicky Bobby could potentially put on some weight, Nick Robertson maybe, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like, does he have the